With clients now embracing their gray hair, I thought it would be good to put together a video on how you can blend your clients' gray hair and have minimal grow out without having to 100% cover their grays. One of the things that we all hate about gray hair is that it always is a little bit more prominent in the front hairline area. So she's probably about 50% gray throughout and then pretty minimal underneath. But around her temples and around her hairline, how most of us are, her gray seems to be a little bit stronger in these areas. So instead of having it look like she just has gray hair, we're doing some very fine baby lights, and then we're going to cool them down pretty ashy and not quite super silvery, but just nice and cool. So that way it looks like she has a cooler toned highlight versus just having silver gray hair. Also, a little backstory with this client. So she's been coming to me for about 2 years now, roughly. And the very first time she came in, she was just starting to go a little bit silver. And she honestly wanted to try to cover up her gray completely or go extremely very blonde. And I told her that I just don't recommend going really blonde because her hair is pretty dark naturally. And it just doesn't make sense to color your hair extremely blonde for the sake of not having gray grow out, because if you color your hair blonde, now you're just going to have really bad grow out for your natural hair. So I suggested just trying to work with her gray instead of fighting it. And so ever since then, we've just been doing some baby lights and just blending with her natural color and letting it grow out really softly. And so she comes to see me probably like 3 times a year now, and she gets really good grow out, really great longevity with the way that we do her hair, and she's been really happy with how this has worked for her. Look, as I'm combing through her hair, how soft her grow out is. Yes, you can kind of see where the weaves were and a little bit more where it's warmed up a little bit, but pretty much for the most part, like, her grow out is very, very soft and it's not too heavy. So by doing some really fine baby lights, I think this is such a great way to help somebody that doesn't want to have major upkeep with their hair, but they're not like really quite willing to go fully gray. I think this is a great way to just embrace your natural hair, kind of work with it instead of fighting against it. And I think people are so much happier in the long run because they're just more accepting of it, and cooler tones are a little bit more in right now anyways, so why not go with having, you know, cooler tone, ashy, silvery highlights, because that's going to blend so much more with your natural hair anyways, and the grow out is going to be by far so much less. I really try to focus on where they part their hair to make sure I do a little bit heavier of baby lights in those areas, because what I don't want to happen is where they part their hair, if I have too large of a subsection, then they're not going to have any of those baby lights showing through on either side. So be really mindful of where they part their hair at, and to make sure that you pack in those baby lights just a little bit more, so that way wherever their part falls on that side, you'll ensure that they have some little baby lights to break up their natural hair. Because she's been coming to me for a while now, all we do at this point is some baby lights in her partial foil area, And sometimes I will go through and just paint through the ends just to kind of break through that brassiness. But we've already done so much work with doing a heavy balayage and trying to lighten her up all over that right now we're pretty much just maintaining. So all we have to do now is this section of partial baby lights, and then she's good to go for processing. Okay, so you can see here that this is all that we did for her foil, and this is just enough to maintain the color that we've been doing. I'm going to be honest, I feel like the silver didn't tone down the hair as much as I was hoping it would. Normally at this point when I'm running the toner through, it's usually very, very cool and ashy. And right here you can see that it's still kind of warm, not quite as warm as what the salon lights make it look like, but it just didn't cool down quite as much as I was wanting it to. So I think next time in the future, I would probably get rid of the silver and just add more of the level 9. But I'm still really happy with it. She was happy with her hair. This is kind of a little bit more accurate with the ring light. You can see how silver it is. It's a lot cooler, not quite as cool through the ends, but it still turned out really good, and she was still super happy with her hair. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below.